Hello, Patriots, and welcome back to Mason Cable News. My name is Alexis Whitted.
And I'm Ky'Lend Adams.
Halloween weekend is quickly approaching, and Halloween is on Monday, with November right after that. Ky'Lend, are you planning to do anything special?
I am. I'm going to D.C. You know, that's where I was born and raised, and I'm going out with some friends. What about yourself?
That's really fun. Well, I was thinking about doing the embassy tour because they do trick-or-treating there, so that's really exciting. Also, have you heard about this news that Trump's Hollywood star was demolished today?
Oh. The election is heating up and people are beginning to express themselves.
Yes, it is.
Well, the Ky'Lend jungle is the nickname given to a refugee and migrant camp within Cali, France, because many of the migrant attempts to illegally enter the United Kingdom through a port or the Eurotunnel, French authorities have begun clearing the camp. The French government began the busing of migrants on Wednesday, October 24th, with the intent of moving the migrants to different regions of France. Almost 2,000 migrants have been moved away from the camp, from the 6,400 people living there in subhuman conditions. There has been clashes between migrants and the police in the last hours of the jungle. The migrant crisis, especially within Europe, has continued to be a pressing issue of the century. There has yet to be a coherent strategy to solve the issue.
Mason has had the opportunity to welcome many special guests and celebrities. Adding to the celebrities Mason has hosted, the university welcomed singer and actress Miley Cyrus to the Fairfax campus this past weekend. Cyrus went dorm to dorm on Saturday to campaign for presidential nominee Hillary Clinton. Here's Erik Truong with the story.
Mason College Democrats continue their canvassing effort for Democratic presidential candidate Hillary Clinton. We had the opportunity to interview some of these college Democrats and get their opinion on the 2016 election and the presence of Miley Cyrus on campus.
Personally, I'm going to volunteer for a campaign, and I think that everyone else should as well, because it's the little things that matter, and every vote counts, and you got to push it out there.
I think it's important that we go and explain her policies. That way people can understand better. She has great ideas and can do a lot in the office.
My plans are to volunteer all the time. I phone bank every single week. I canvass as much as I can, especially on the weekends. A lot of young people, especially along the campus, were Bernie supporters and had such fervor for his campaign. And it's important just to highlight that there are a lot of similarities between these two candidates, and that we have a lot to gain from electing Hillary Clinton to the presidency and stopping Donald Trump.
In Virginia, this is actually Fairfax is more of a purple area. More of Northern Virginia is blue, but down south it's more red, where I come from. And so I guess it's important to sway us to make us blue.
Well, I think she does a great job of helping humanize Hillary Clinton better and connecting better with a younger population, so she can help be that bridge that sometimes Hillary has trouble crossing.
Because I think she really can speak to young people, and that she can really kind of drive home the message that this election matters. It's not worth it to sit home and not vote or cast a protest vote just because you're angry. We need to vote progress, and we need to vote looking towards the future, not looking towards diminishing everything that we've accomplished over the 8 years.
Right behind me is Merton Hall, where Mason students can vote from 6 a.m. to 7 p.m. on Tuesday, November 8th. If you'd like any more information, please feel free to go to masonvotes.gmu.edu. This is Erik Truong signing off from Mason Cable News.
Going on the theme of controversial celebrities, last night alt-right conservative commentator Milo Yiannopoulos came to the George Mason Seminar in the Johnson Center. As a surrogate for Trump, he encouraged audience members to vote for, quote-unquote, Daddy, his pseudonym for Republican presidential candidate Donald Trump. He criticized the ongoing movement of feminism and emphasized that polls had been rigged against Mr. Trump. Self-dubbed as the most fabulous supervillain on the internet, Yiannopoulos spoke for the approximately 90 minutes and answered an additional 30 minutes of questions.
The Washington Post released an aggregate college ranking based on the combination of new and former college rankings, starting with the U.S. News and World Report and sourcing their rankings from several different rankings such as The Wall Street Journal, Times Higher Education, and Forbes. The Washington Post released rankings for 2016 universities and liberal arts colleges. George Mason University placed at 92 within the top 100 universities for 2016, joining Virginia School's UVA, College of William & Mary, and Virginia Tech. Congratulations, Mason Nation, to another great year.
After this commercial break, we'll be right back with Freshman's Corner.
Hello everyone and welcome to this week's segment of Freshman's Corner. I'm your host Cody Borden, and this week I'm in between Skyline and Southside to talk about health, wellness, and fitness here on campus. What is your current workout routine and how is it different than when you're at home?
Well, I'm an off-campus student, so the thing is that it usually depends on a day. So I prefer to work out in the mornings, so it depends on whether I have morning classes or afternoon classes.
Well, nothing right now, but I'm planning to work out starting next month, at least on the weekends, to start out.
I actually do ballroom and swing dance clubs at the JC. That's 3 days a week. And then sometimes I do some classes here, and sometimes I just go to the gym, a lot of cardio.
I usually work out a couple times a week. I live in Dominion, so I usually try to jog over to the AFC or the rack and then try to lift there and then jog back.
What do you think about the dining halls here on campus? Do you think when you eat there you're getting a balanced diet?
Yeah, I try to get a variety of different foods and eat healthy every day.
I definitely think that they offer a lot of different options, and that there's always an option for everyone. If you're vegan or vegetarian, there's an option for you. If you prefer like meat meals, there's an option for you. For whatever preference you have, there's something there for you.
Yes, I do think I'm getting a balanced diet. I just don't pick a balanced diet.
What are you doing to like make sure you're staying healthy? What like precautions do you take to make sure you're not the one getting sick?
Well, I definitely drink a lot of water to stay hydrated, and I usually try to get a balanced meal. I definitely need to eat 3 meals a day and not completely just ramen and Easy Mac and stuff like that.
Did you know that there is a dietitian here on campus?
No, I did not.
Well, would you be interested in taking a Mason Diet trivia test?
Why not?
Alrighty. First question. What is the most important meal of the day?
Breakfast.
Okay.
Breakfast.
Breakfast.
Very good. Breakfast gives you the nutrients to make sure you have the energy to get through the day. Is it better to try new foods or to stick to a stationary diet?
New foods.
Probably try new foods and experiment, yeah.
I would say stationary, just so your body stays used to what you're eating, so you get in that routine, and then you could also get into your workout routine.
Actually, it's better to try new foods because new foods may meet nutritional needs that your stationary diet may not be fulfilling. Is it better to have more or less color on your plate?
Definitely more.
More.
Very good. It's good to have more colors for the same reason as the second question, you'll get more nutrition. Well, it looks like everyone's doing their best to stay healthy and fit here on campus. For more information, you can go to dining.gmu.edu and recreation.gmu.edu. I'm your host, Cody Borden. Tune in next week for the next segment of Freshman's Corner.
Last week, over 200 people attended the annual Freedom and Learning Forum at George Mason University. According to the Mason staff and police, the topic of discussion was policing race, critical analysis on national trends. It was prompted by this year's shootings of African American men in Charlotte and Tulsa by police. Panelists and audience members also talked about how race is policed at Mason and in the community.
Immigration has arisen to become one of the hottest issues in the 2016 election year. Come join the School of Conflict Analysis and Resolution with their event titled The Election and Future of Immigration. Join the school's Dialogue and Differences project and have an honest conversation about immigration. There will be short presentations by panelists and will be followed by a roundtable discussion. Pizza and refreshments will be served and the event is open to all. Mason students need to bring their ID. The meeting will be in Founders Hall Room 126.
Helping others and getting ready for the workforce is what GMU trains its students on. Mason student nurses supported mission readiness by working alongside Andrew Rader, U.S. Army Health Clinic nursing staff, and combat medics by giving 9,700 flu vaccine doses. The doses were given to beneficiaries and retirees inside Fort Myer Memorial Chapel at Joint Base Myer-Henderson Hall. These student nurse seniors had an opportunity to get a personal look at how a military installation defends against an infectious disease. Student nurses at GMU are being well prepared for the workforce.
Stay tuned after this break. We'll have On the Couch with Gina Jerome and our sports report with Reema Abuelrish and our discussion on the handling of sexual assault on campus.
Hello, Mason Nation. Did you miss me? I understand if you had a little bit of separation anxiety, but nonetheless, welcome back to another amazing week with me, Gina Jerome, on the couch. And once again, I'm very excited to be your source for entertainment news nationally, as well as in the DMV and GMU area. Now, let's start off with some juicy Hollywood gossip. On Sunday night, October 23rd, just hours before Drake turned 30, he released new music via a special birthday episode of OVO Sound Radio. Of the 3 new songs, 2 Birds, 1 song generated the most controversy, specifically for its many subliminals in which he disses Kid Cudi. Presumably, it's probably in response to a series of tweets Cudi wrote on September 14th, disparaging artists like Kanye and Drake for using teams of songwriters, but while also claiming to be top 5. On 2 Birds, 1 Stone, many of his lines are aimed or seem to be aimed at Cudi, and they dismiss him and criticize him for his drug use and make light of his mental health problems. In light of Kid Cudi's widely shared and widely embraced Facebook admission of his anxiety and suicidal thoughts, in my opinion, these lines are just a tad bit tasteless. But in Mason News, where were you on Saturday, October 22nd? Back when she was swinging on wrecking balls and licking hammers, you never would have guessed that Miley Cyrus would be acting as a surrogate for the potential first female president in U.S. history, Hillary Clinton. I'm a little jealous, but she was here on Saturday, going door to door, talking to students on the Fairfax campus about the importance of getting out to vote on November 8th. Shockingly, Miley wasn't the only pop star out on the trail working for Clinton this weekend. Katy Perry knocked on dorm room doors at University of Nevada, Las Vegas on Saturday, drumming up support for Clinton on the first day of early voting in Nevada. Katy Perry had also signed to perform at a Clinton rally on November 5th in Philadelphia. So it's been a pretty exciting weekend. But do you like to dance? Do you like a little competition? And do you think you can shimmy like a noob? Well, come on down to Dewberry Hall this Thursday, October 27th at 7:30 p.m. for the annual Shimmy Like a Noob contest. Presented by the MCNews chapter of the Kappa Alpha Psi fraternity, teams of about 6-7 are coached by Kappas themselves in the hopes of winning the grand prize, which is obviously bragging rights. I'll be there. Will you? Well, Mason Nation, this has been a great week of infotainment, and I'm so excited that I can be with you back right here on the couch. Well, for more information, don't forget to tune in next week. Bye, Mason.
Good evening, Patriots. My name is Reema Abuelrish, and this is the sports segment of the news. Good luck to the women's volleyball team as they take on the Explorers this Saturday here at Mason. Unfortunately, the ladies suffered 2 great losses this past weekend against Davidson and VCU. Better luck this weekend, ladies. Congratulations to our soccer lady Patriots as they remained undefeated with their last 2 games ending 4-1 against VCU and 1-0 against George Washington. The ladies will be playing the Explorers this Thursday while on the road. Unfortunately, the men's soccer team suffered its 5th straight loss, falling 2-1 to St. Louis. The men tied against Duquesne on the game after and then suffered a blank loss against the Explorers, 0-3. Good luck to the men as they take on the road to head to Rhode Island this weekend. Congratulations to the women's basketball coach, Nyla Malson, as she will be inducted into Drury Athletics Hall of Fame tonight. Malson was the first women's basketball coach at Drury, which she led to the 2004 Division II National Championship game. Well, with that being said, and with the NBA season opener last night, I think it's safe to say that the countdown has officially begun. In just 15 days, the men will tip off their season with a home game against Towson. And in just 14 days, the women's basketball team will tip off their season as well with a home game against Radford. Both teams are anticipating a great season, and so are we. Well, Patriots, that's all for the sports updates for tonight. For more info, visit gomason.com. We'll be back right after the commercial.
You're listening live to Improv for Mason here on WGMU Radio, heard WGMUradio.com.
You know, it wasn't my idea.
Today's show with our special guest interview for this team in the new conference.
Welcome to a special
It's
edition
been
of the
a
First
great
Pick.
transition for me personally. I love Mason.
The very talented David Keckner.
Great. How are you doing?
Reed, Jonah, it was a pleasure having you on the show today.
Thanks, dude.
I'm Ben Simpson. On the phone today, we have Drew McGarry, successful author, writer. You're listening to WGMU Radio on WGMUradio.com.
Sexual assault is a common issue that colleges and universities have to confront. Within the first week of classes during the fall semester, 2 reported sexual assaults occurred on Mason campus. Since then, the university has been investigated on its procedural handling of the case. Aside from knowing a sexual assault had occurred, every other detail is unknown. While campus staff have participated in Title IX training, students get very little training on information on this issue occurring so often. Many still do not feel safe reporting an assault or fear of not being accepted or victim blaming. Is there a need to reform the system, and where should we start? What do you guys think?
I think the system is constantly being reformed. I think we are learning new information every day, and as a result, the system of sexual assault, especially on college campuses, is constantly being a topic of discussion. And I think that people are reporting it more, which is why we're aware of it happening more. So I think that is something that's going to constantly happen, especially in terms of college campuses.
Well, I think people still feel like they're ostracized and not being able to speak out that this did happen to them. So I think that organizations such as the Feminist Student Organization and Roosevelt that have events such as the Clothesline Project and Take Back the Night are really important to help be able to get people to be brave and stand up for what happened to them.
Mm-hmm. And I think that student staffs are mandated to go through Title IX training. It would be interesting if we started putting that in the orientations for that freshmen when they're coming to Mason, get that same type of training as far as sexual assaults on campus.
I totally agree.
I agree with that, definitely.
Yeah. Well, Mason, we want to thank you for tuning in. Please follow us on Facebook and Twitter at Mason Cable News and subscribe to our channel on YouTube at Mason Cable Network to keep up to date with the latest news on and off campus. Until next time, I'm Ky'Lend Adams.
I'm Alexis Whitted.
And I'm Reema Abuelrish. See you again next Wednesday.